his account with fiction, while presenting himself as an eyewitness would have made him guilty of deliberate deceit. Surely it is illogical to conclude that a book that honors God as the fulfiller of his word, the record of how Jehovah gave the land of Canaan to Israel, in fulfillment of his oath to their forefathers, events of the first 20 years or so following the death of Moses at the end of Israel's wandering in the wilderness. Joshua prepares Israel to enter Canaan, sends out spies. 1. 2. 24. Jehovah commissions Joshua to lead the Israelites into the land. Joshua commands that Israel be instructed to get ready to cross the Jordan. He sends spies out to investigate the land and the city of Jericho. When these are in Jericho, they are hidden by Rahab, who is promised that she and all in her house who obey the instructions given will be spared in the coming destruction of Jericho. Israel crosses the Jordan River dry shod. 3. 1. 5. 12. The people sanctify themselves in preparation for crossing the Jordan. Priests carrying the ark step into the river first. The river is miraculously dammed up some distance upstream, and the Israelites cross dry shod to memorialize the crossing. 12 stones are taken from the river and set up at Gilgal. Another 12 stones are set up where the priests stood in the riverbed. Israelite males born in the wilderness are circumcised. A Passover is celebrated. The provision of manna ceases, and Israel begins to eat the produce of the land. The conquest of Jericho is followed by defeat at I-5. 13. 8. 35. The angelic prince of Jehovah's army appears to Joshua. Jehovah tells Joshua how to fight against Jericho. For 6 days in succession the Israelites march once daily around the city. On the 7th day they march around it 7 times. Upon the final round they give a loud shout, Jericho's walls fall, and the city is devoted to destruction. Achan takes for himself some of what has been devoted to destruction because of this sin. Jehovah withdraws his aid, and Israel suffers defeat at Ai. Achan's sin is uncovered, and he and his household are stoned. The second attack against Ai succeeds with Jehovah's blessing. Joshua builds an altar at Mount Ebal and reads the law to the people. The Gibeonites sue for peace, while others are destroyed. 9. 1. 12. 24. The inhabitants of Gibeon, hearing of Israel's successes, shrewdly trick Joshua into making a covenant with them. 5 kings unite to attack the Gibeonites, but Israel comes to Gibeon's aid. Jehovah hurls great hailstones and miraculously lengthens the daylight hours, causing utter defeat for the attackers. The Israelites under Joshua capture cities in the and the S. They are victorious over a coalition of kings in the N. Land is apportioned among tribes of Israel. 13. 1. 22. 34. Reuben, Gad, and half-tribe of Manasseh have territory of the Jordan. Caleb receives Hebron. The tribes of Judah, Ephraim, and other half of Manasseh are assigned a land inheritance by lot. The tabernacle is set up at Shiloh, and lots are drawn there to determine land inheritances for the remaining tribes. The Levites receive 48 cities. O textoi acute miritra longo. Josiah 117. Jos 21. 43-45, encourages faithfulness to him. 23. 6-16. 24. 14, 15, 19, 20, 23, and openly acknowledges Israel's failures was produced by a false witness. 7. 1-5. 18. 3. No one can deny that the Israelite nation came into existence and occupied the land described in the book of Joshua. Likewise, there is no valid basis for challenging the truthfulness of that book's account concerning the way in which the Israelites gained possession of Canaan. Neither the psalmist's PS 44. 1-3. 78. 54, 55. 105. 42-45. 135. 10-12. 136. 17-22. Nor Nehemiah and E9. 22-25, and the first Christian martyr Stephen Act 7. 45, and the disciple James Jas 2. 25, and the learned apostle Paul Act 13. 19. Heb 4. 8. 11. 30, 31 doubted its authenticity. And 1 Kings 16. 34 records the fulfillment of Joshua's prophetic curse uttered about 500 years earlier at the time of Jericho's destruction. Jos 6. 26. Writer. Some scholars, although acknowledging that the book was written in or near the time of Joshua, reject the traditional Jewish view that Joshua himself wrote it. Their main objection is that some of the events recorded in the book of Joshua also appear in the book of Judges, which commences with the words, "and after the death of Joshua." JG 1. Nevertheless, this opening statement is not necessarily a time indicator for all the events found in the Judges account. The book is not arranged in strict chronological order, for it mentions an event that definitely is placed before Joshua's death. JG 2. 6-9 Therefore, some things, such as the capture of Hebron by Caleb Judges 15. 13, 14. JG 1. 9, 10, Deber by Othniel Judges 15. 15-19. JG 1. 11-15, and Leshem, or Lishdan, by the Danites Judges 19. 47, 48. JG 18. 27-29, could likewise have taken place before Joshua's death. Even the action of the Danites in setting up an idolatrous image at Lish could reasonably fit Joshua's time. JG 18. 30, 31 In his concluding exhortation, Joshua told the Israelites, "Remove the gods that your forefathers served on the other side of the river and in Egypt, and serve Jehovah." Judges 24. 14 Had idolatry not existed, this statement would have had little meaning. Logically, then, with the exception of the concluding portion that reports his death, the book may be attributed to Joshua. As Moses had recorded the happenings of his lifetime, so it would have been fitting for Joshua to do likewise. The book itself reports, "Then Joshua wrote these words in the book of God's law." Judges 24. 26. Not contradictory. Some have felt that the book is contradictory in making it appear that the land was completely subdued by Joshua, while at the same time reporting that much of it remained to be taken. Compare Judges 11. 16, 17, 23. 13. 1. But such seeming discrepancies are easily resolved when one bears in mind that there were two distinct aspects in the conquest. First, national warfare under Joshua's leadership broke the power of the Canaanites. Next, individual and tribal action was required to take full possession of the land. 17. 14-18. 18. 3 Probably, while Israel was warring elsewhere, the Canaanites re-established themselves in cities such as Deber and Hebron so that these had to be retaken by individual or tribal effort. Compare Judges 11. 21-23 with Judges 14. 6, 12. 15. 13-17. Josiah Middle.ci If related to an Arabic root, may Jehovah heal. Jehovah has healed. 1. Son of Judean King Armant by Jedida the daughter of Adaiah. 2 Kai 22. 1 Josiah had at least 2 wives, Hamutal and Zberda. 2 Kai 23. 31, 34, 36 Of his 4 sons mentioned in the Bible, only the firstborn, Johanan, did not rule as king over Judah. 1 Ch 3. 14, 15. After the assassination of his father and the execution of the conspirators, 8-year-old Josiah became king of Judah. 2 Kai 21. 23, 24, 26. 2 Ch 33. 25 Some 6 years later Zberda gave birth to Josiah's second son, Joachim. 2 Kai 22. 1. 23. 36 In the 8th year of his reign, Josiah sought to learn no text to acute miritra longo, Jezitbi 118 apart and then commissioned a 5-man delegation to inquire of Jehovah on his behalf and on behalf of the people. The delegation went to the prophetess Huldah, then dwelling in Jerusalem, and brought back a report to this effect. Calamity will come as a consequence of disobedience to Jehovah's law. But because you, King Josiah, humbled yourself, you will be gathered to your graveyard in peace and will not see the calamity. 2 Kai 22. 3-20. 2 Ch 34. 8-28. See Huldah. Subsequently Josiah assembled all the people of Judah and Jerusalem, including the older men, the priests, and the prophets, and read God's law to them. After this, they concluded a covenant of faithfulness before Jehovah. Then followed a second and evidently a more intensive campaign against idolatry. The foreign god priests of Judah and Jerusalem were put out of business, and Levite priests who had become involved in improper worship at high places were deprived of the privilege of serving at Jehovah's altar. The high places built centuries earlier during Solomon's reign were made completely unfit for worship. In fulfillment of a prophecy uttered about 300 years previously by an unnamed man of God, Josiah pulled down the altar built by Israel's king Jeroboam at Bethel. The high places were removed not only at Bethel, but also in the other cities of Samaria, and the idolatrous priests were sacrificed on the altars where they had officiated. 1 Chi 13. 1, 2. 2 Chi 23. 1-20. 2 Ch 34. 29-33. In the 18th year of his reign, Josiah arranged for the celebration of the Passover, on Nisan 14. It transcended any Passover that has been observed since the days of the prophet Samuel. Josiah himself contributed 30,000 Passover victims and 3,000 head of cattle. 2 Chi 23. 21-23. 2 Ch 35. 1-19. About 4 years later Josiah became father to Mattaniah Zedekiah by his wife Hamutal. 2 Chi 22. 1. 23. 31, 34, 36. 24. 8, 17, 18. Toward the close of Josiah's 31-year reign 659-629 BCE Pharaoh Necho led his army northward to the aid of the Assyrians. For a reason not revealed in the Bible, King Josiah disregarded the words of Necho from the mouth of God and tried to turn the Egyptian forces back at Megiddo, but he was mortally wounded in the attempt. He was brought back to Jerusalem in a war chariot and died either en route or upon arrival there. Josiah's death brought much grief to his subjects. All Judah and Jerusalem were mourning over Josiah. And Jeremiah began to chant over Josiah. And all the male singers and female singers keep talking about Josiah in their dirges down till today.